could be the one. I could be the one to please you. Did you wanna settle down? Did you wanna come back? Did you wanna settle down? Did you wanna come back? Oh, I know that you've been right.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Black Girl Politics with Wilhelmina Simone.
And Taja, what's up?
So today we have some of our guests with us today. We have Curtis and Flo coming to the show today.
Peace.
So guys, introduce yourselves, tell us what you do, what you want to accomplish, and everything.
Ladies first, guys.
Okay, well, my name is Flo. I'm a poet, I'm a writer, I'm a multidimensional artist, so I do a little bit of everything. I make crystal jewelry. I'm the creator of Crystals and Candy, which is basically a group based off of healing on the zodiac. So we work on healing inner issues through our signs and how the universe affects us as groups. So yeah.
All right, my name is Curtis, and I'm a poet, a visionary, black activist, a freedom fighter, a black man, a son, everything.
Okay.
So today our show is going to be mostly about like what we want to do and how you guys are going to contribute to the Black community as being artists and things like that.
Most definitely.
How we can build ourselves up in different ways of what you're doing and how that's giving back to us and sort of ways that we can help each other and further progress, as a people.
And one of our first topics we're going to be speaking about is the responsibility of artists and Black celebrities and things like that.
Most definitely.
So I know like a lot of things in the media right now is like A$AP Rocky, or whether it's him or if it's like the Kylie Jenner and the Kardashian family and how they appropriate our culture, and Kim Kardashian who's married to a Black man and she has a Black son, and how like what's the responsibility for Black celebrities to give back to the community.
So y'all want to speak on the Kim thing real quick?
If
Yeah,
you
go
want to
ahead,
go whatever you guys
start.
want, you guys can
With
start.
their family and how they exist within the culture. I don't mind, but I can see how some people do. Because to me, they're embracing it, and with them embracing it, it's shedding light to our culture within the many other cultures. Because some people may look at them that don't look to a Black person, but if they're repping Black culture, you still look to a Black person. You get what I'm saying? But then you have some people that probably look at it like they culture vultures,
Right.
and I get that part also, because if you're not proceeding off of it, then it kind of is. But for the most part, I see it as
Them
it's
helping
okay.
us.
No, it's not helping.
Not helping.
Just them putting the light that. Can I curse?
Yeah.
Just them putting the light that we've been the shit. That's
Yeah.
it. That we've been the shit.
To a degree, I feel like we put a little bit too much emphasis on how celebrities feel about our issues, just because at the end of the day, I feel like Kim Kardashian can say whatever she wants to say. Kanye can be Kanye all day, but until we pay attention to our community as a whole, it doesn't really matter. And of course, there are definitely people that need to hear stuff like this. People who are, white and might not have a lot of communication with Black people. They're probably going to look at celebrities and people who have, contact with Black people on a bigger scale and be like, oh, this is cool for them, so maybe I can do this. But at the same time, it's kind of, it's a slightly misguided attempt, just because if you're seeing, Kylie Jenner interact with Tyga is the stereotypical Black man. He's a rapper and he's always talking about ass and hoes and, do this, smoke this weed and blah, blah, blah. So it's like, if I'm a white person, I've never had communication with a Black person, I'm just, maybe I'm going to have that stereotypical idea in my head. And a lot of the time it's kind of, harmful in a way, but I feel like when we realize it's more about how we feel about it, it's like a little more.
I was just going to say, at what space are they really obligated to speak for us? I don't really think we should really speak for, unless you're, I feel like, in a certain position like social media. That's one platform that we all have. Some people have bigger audience than others, and so therefore with that comes responsibility. And so therefore, if there's like the killings that just happened with that girl, a bunch of those killings that just happened to those girls in the Bronx, and is it sex trafficking? I believe
Yes, like there's a theory that 14 girls went missing in the Bronx, and there's barely any media coverage of it. But
right.
one of a friend of a friend of a friend was just she was raped and murdered, and there's no news coverage at all. And this is something we know personally.
No one's paying
and
attention
if you
to
Google it,
No
it
one.
doesn't pop up. But this is a young woman of color who was leaving work and was kidnapped, raped, and murdered, and they found her body, and no one said anything.
And it's happening in our communities. I'm sure that, you know, like you said, a friend of a friend, or even people. Someone just got shot this morning who lived across the street. I actually grew up with him this morning. But yeah, a lot of these things they don't get. It's like a clip it in like maybe the newspaper, and if you who really reads newspapers,
it's like they're going to exploit.
you know what I
they wanna
mean?
exploit.
So it's like for us as our generation, we're the ones to be. Social media is the new way of news. I don't really know how much people watch TV now. So we get most of our news through social media. So we do have some sort of obligation to speak on certain things, but
I just feel like even outside of that, even like outside of the Kardashians, because I could really care less
yeah,
about
they were
them.
just
It's
like a slight
more-
example. It's just
like,
bigger than that.
But even if it's like how Beyonce did Lemonade, and she had a lot of African culture in her video, is that to show the culture? If it's like rappers who only rap about shooting and drug violence and drug trafficking and all these things against the black community, but then they want to go to Black Lives Matter marches and they want to stand up against gun violence and police brutality, but they speak of shooting each other, and that people see that as a contradiction, or it's like, oh, but black on black crime. And the problem I see with celebrities is that I can only imagine being a celebrity with all this responsibility on myself to be an icon and like a role model. I can only imagine if people only saw me for being a black activist too, because it's like you have to take on all the burdens of the black community that may or may not be relative to you, and I don't think that's right. But I also think that people don't see the average black person as someone to pay attention to.
Exactly.
So the only people we do have representing us are the people who are NBA players or NFL players, the people who they pay attention to, not like the lawyers and doctors who also have great credibility, but they only see Beyonce, they only see Jay-Z, they only see these rappers, they only see A$AP Rocky comments, they only see these comments and these black celebrities of those lights. They don't really see us.
You have to go out of your way for a lot of that information.
I do think they should have a voice of the black community, because if it wasn't for their fame, they would just be another statistic, or if not another murder case or another hashtag.
Right.
I think it is their responsibility to a certain degree.
I agree with you completely, but I feel like in a sense, we all have to take responsibility, because we can't always blame other people for not speaking of things that are important to us, because just like them, you know, they have their own life. It's kind of like when you're on Instagram and you post a picture and it's like saying whatever, and then someone's like, oh, that's not classy, or it's like, get the fuck off my page. Like, this is my life. I'm going to post what I want. So I feel like they do have a responsibility, but I feel like we all have a responsibility. Like, for example, when Malin went missing, I feel like, a lot of people's response was to post it so we could find her, so we could make it happen. And I feel like to an extent that's everybody's responsibility, to send her prayers, to make sure that, you're taking care of your friends. Like recently, one of my friends was really close to her, and I made it my responsibility to hit her up and be like, are you okay? Do you need anything? So I feel like if we go within our communities and make sure that everybody's good, that we're working on ourselves and each other, then, what the celebrities are saying as much isn't going to be as important. Just because when we're not paying attention to ourselves and what we could be doing in our own communities, we're like, what are we going to do? We're going to pick up a tabloid. We're going to watch, The View or whatever.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time we know what they're saying is completely fucking stupid. We're just like, bitch, you sound dumb. You don't know what you're talking about. Raven Simone, go love yourself, So it's kind of like, we kind of deflect from what we could be doing to pay attention to what they're doing.
But we don't have...
I feel what you're saying. I feel exactly what you're saying. Definitely, you should be a leader and you should think for self. And you should have your own knowledge of self. But when you come from a place where you see nothing, or if you come from the ghetto and you see nothing, and then you see somebody like a Future or a Young Thug that show you hope, that show you materialism, all the things that you desire, you start to look at that person. You cannot say you're not going to. You're going to. That's something you inspire to be. So therefore, that person should have a responsibility with what they're saying. They should know once they pick up that microphone and once them people are looking at you, you do need to say the right thing and not the wrong thing. You don't need to be calling women bitches all day. You don't need to. We all human, so you can talk about that, but not all day to where that's what we know you for. We should know you for a broad scale of things. If you want to look at a person, I was looking at an interview with Jamie Foxx that he started as a fucking comedian. You know him as Ray.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you show him a shred of things.
He's a great actor too.
But yeah.
And he's a singer.
He's amazing. But blame it on the alcohol. But
shout out to Jamie Foxx.
But you should definitely always think before you speak when you have the masses.
I mean, a lot of people don't want to be seen as a role model, even if it's like Zendaya or Rihanna, because it's just so much responsibility and it's just so much pressure. And a lot of people don't want that pressure because A$AP Rocky a few years ago was walking around taking the train just like we're taking the train back and forth too. So who
Probably
is he
know people that know him.
I do. So it's not like it's not as if tomorrow you can have all this fame and money and fortune and be in the spotlight, so they don't even know how to take that responsibility and put that out front to show like, oh wow, there's a little boy watching me talking about guns and drugs and girls, but they don't see it as that. They see it like, this label wants this money, I'm signed to this label, I have to make this money, I have to get radio play. So to them it's like, either what are they sacrificing, their career or their personal opinion?
I don't feel like it's anything wrong with them saying anything about any of those things.
I'm not saying it's wrong.
As long as you put a cause and effect to it, let those kids know that busting that gun is wrong. Don't just tell the kids busting that gun and then stop there. You tell them bust that gun, you're going to get 25.
Or you could be like Immortal Technique and give the full example of what happened, you know, Dance with the Devil.
Like the
full
Wu-Tang
scale.
Clan.
I mean,
like
of
that.
course, because they came from that community. Some of these rappers and artists and even R&B singers, they've come from poverty. They come from poor communities, and
A
lot
where
of
they
them
have to sell
have-
drugs.
that's their
and have
way
to
out.
hold a gun on them, so they have to protect themselves. And they're just talking about their experiences. I'm not saying that everyone has their experiences,
Definitely.
and that's the real Black experience. That's a Black life experience
So-
in America. It's just more of so like when you do get to the degree of fame that or like success that you have, like let's say Beyonce or Jay-Z, because that's like a Black idol in the Black community.
Yeah.
Definitely.
They give back to Black Lives Matter movement, but they don't state their opinion. But you'll see Lemonade or all the songs that she put out for that, and it's just showing like I'm Black and I'm proud, and even little things like that show young men and young women like,
It's more
wow,
like
I'm Black
that
and I'm
popular
proud.
shit showing
We
shit.
should all
So,
take responsibility.
How
but
do
it's
we
just-
rebuild it? What do we do to make it bigger, to change it,
To change what?
to change the community?
Change the community. It's all a day-by-day thing. Or you can start with the youth, though. You got to start with the kids. You don't start with the people our age at all. You try to get the young kids, the youngest kids. You get them, and if you could get them, we can it'll overlap, and eventually it'll get there. It's not going to be a tomorrow thing, but it can be a thing.
I think for everything,
apply
it's all like a generational thing. You know, every generation progresses. We're better than our parents.
Definitely.
We're doing, you know, way more things. And that's how
Artistic
it's
things.
supposed to be. You know, we've learned lessons from the past. You don't repeat it. But with all that being said, we're going to talk about more of this in our next segment. So stay tuned.
You're